you know the name Michael Murphy?
I don't.
Well, Michael Murphy is kind of an old hippie, you might say, out here, but he was the founder of the Esalen Institute down below Big Sur, which is a kind of a place where you go to open up your mind and your brain and schmooze with other people. And he also founded a think tank up in the Bay Area called the Transformation Project with a gentleman named Steve Donovan. So in the 80s, when I was working very intensely in these areas of what you might call the brain architecture and thought architecture and how it works, sooner or later, I ran into Steve Donovan. Actually, the way I did that was that Michael Murphy wrote a book called An End to Ordinary History, which was a very thinly veiled fiction story about psychic experimentation in the Soviet Union. I picked it up in a Berkeley bookstore at some point. I read this book and I said, you know what? This sounds a hell of a lot, that he knows a lot more that he's talking about here than just writing a story. So I got a hold of Michael Murphy and I said, I think your book is not a story. I think it's thinly veiled nonfiction. He said, well, you're right. And he said, if you want to talk about it, he says, you want to talk to Steve Donovan. So Steve Donovan had a nice little apartment down here in the Marina in San Francisco. And his apartment was jammed with file cabinets in which psychic research and mental research from all over the world was in there. I mean, the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency had nothing like this. Nothing. So I was like a kid in a candy store. I went in there and I said, Steve, can I just rummage? And he said, be my guest. He was very affable about the whole thing. So a lot of the information, that I used to develop in MindWar began with documentation and things that I first came into when I was looking through the files of the Transformation Project. And
that's an incredible story.
Yeah, well, this happened because both Steve Donovan and Michael Murphy spent a lot of time in the 60s and 70s in the Soviet Union talking with the people back there who were at the very forefront of this kind of experimentation. And the United States, of course, this is a Cold War, so we didn't have our people, our agents or our attachés or anything doing this. They wouldn't have gotten a welcome. But the people like Steve Donovan and Michael Murphy would go over there on their vacation time and talk with these people and get together and have vodka with them and so on and learn all kinds of stuff and then bring it back.